Okay, so uh, in this video, I want to talk about these. These are the Sennheiser HD 620S. So I actually got these early because I was looking around and I was excited because 600 series closed back. Sounds great, right? So I was looking around, everywhere said pre-order. There's a certain retailer um, that I'm not going to call out because I know that Sennheiser is pretty active on the socials, so I don't want to get them in trouble. But a certain retailer was shipping these early. It said in stock, ready to ship, 2 days. So, ordered these, got them 2 days later, and here we are. It is currently May 25th, and these are supposed to come out on June 6th. So, that being said, here they are. So I'm just going to get right into this because I'm not crazy technical with how I listen to things. I use Spotify for most of it. I mean, I have FLAC files. I have like 50 CDs right behind me. But for most of my usage, I just use Spotify because it's easy and 320 is good enough. So these, a lot of people were saying, essentially just look like a closed back 560S. No. The build has actually changed quite a bit. I know that the build was kind of controversial for these because people were like, oh, why didn't you just close off a 600 series? But the issue with that is apparently it just didn't lend well to close back, and also portability because, single side cable, that kind of thing. So these use the same 2.5 mil. It's a 500 series build, but really beefed up. This is a lot more solid. I don't know if you can hear the difference there, but this is a significantly heavier headphone. Also, doesn't hurt that the cups here, these are actually metal. So that's pretty interesting. We have metal reinforcements here, and then this is definitely this is a thicker plastic here. Like, it just feels a little thicker. Interestingly enough, I don't know if you can tell on camera here, but the textures of the plastics between this piece here and the headband are actually significantly different. Oh, and this one right here. This is similar to this, and this is completely different. This is more in line with the actual 560S. So another thing was people saying that they use the same driver. Not true. They use the same driver housing, which is that 40 or like 42 mil, but it's not the same driver. So important distinction there. I believe these are 150 ohms, if I'm not mistaken, which I think is the same. These might be 120, somewhere in that range. You get the idea. What's interesting is how exposed the driver is. I'm sure you can see it there. Oh, also, these do have the little plastic nubbin that a lot of people complained about on the 560S. I don't know if you can see it. Whatever. There's a little plastic piece here, and a lot of people complained about their ears touching that. The depth of the pads and the cup itself actually helped this a lot. I did not get any contact with the piece back there, personally. If you have bigger ears than me, which I have pretty average size ears as far as I'm aware, so if you have bigger ears than me, you may have problems. So yeah, build is actually really good. Even though it's in a 500 series shell and everything, I think I really, so I just had a pair of 6XXs here, and these are, like, the way that they feels like a 600 series, if that makes sense. So I think the build is pretty good. This is still a very comfortable design and a very durable design. I mean, I haven't really seen anyone complaining about, like, durability issues. These feel kind of cheap, but they don't really break as far as I'm aware, so I guess it's okay. These pads are really nice. They aren't very, I don't think that's I mean, it's a very fast memory foam, I think. And they use this, it's definitely a synthetic leather. It's kind of silicone-esque, if that makes sense. But it's nice, it's soft, it's well isolating. It's thick. Yeah, these are nice pads. And since it's Sennheiser, you can pretty much assume that you need the stock pads, or else it is going to completely change the sound. Talking about sound. This is where I think these have issues. Because this is priced at $350. That's a lot for a 500 series build and close back. And I was like, okay. They look pretty good frequency response wise. The issue with all this is that Bear Dynamic just came out with these, the 770 Pro X. And I am a big fan of 770s. This is my pair of 80 ohm 770s. They're mini XLR modded by me. So yeah. I just got these are not stock pads. These are Dakoni sheepskin pads on here. But I think these sound better. And they're almost half the cost. These are $200, these are $350. So I'd rather get this and, you know, pretty much get a whole shit stack, or just pocket the extra $150. Because these have an issue where the bass, let's start on the low end. The low end's actually good. The low end's good. It extends deep, extends pretty good, but it is not very boosted. It seems like it has sort of a bump in between, like when in the transition between sub bass and mid bass, there's a little bump there, and that kind of warms it up a little bit, but I'm not a huge fan of it. I prefer more sub bass and less mid bass like this has, where it kind of cuts off, and then the mid bass is pretty cold, but the sub bass is quite boosted. I think that's a fun sound. I think it's enjoyable. It's just a lot of fun. This just kind of comes across as more muffled. Mids are actually good. This is where these actually do beat these. If you're looking for mids, these are better. Upper mids, low treble, and just treble in general, these have problems. These have serious problems, because I was just listening to this songs playlist, and I was using You First by Paramore, and at 37 seconds in this song, there's a cymbal, I believe it's a crash. I was listening on all of these, so I have 490s back here, 770 80 ohm, 770 Pro X, which are the 48 ohm Stellar 45, and 560S. These did not sound good, especially on that cymbal. It sounded muddy, and it just, the issue I found with these Sennheiser drivers, even in like the 560S to a lesser extent, they just sound so claustrophobic. The sounds are not separating well, which I know separation because I have Bear Dynamics. So like I have the 770s here, and I have 1990s over there, and 1990s I mean for separation they're just lovely. I have Arias right now too, Aria Stealths, and those do the same thing. But these are just not doing it very good, especially because I know that 600s, and like I said, I just had 6XXs, which are, I mean, they're 650s, but they're pretty similar. I know that line can do separation and instrument clarity pretty well. These just don't do it. And that's very disappointing, because you expect these to be in the 600 line, and it just doesn't sound like it. These do not sound like a $350 headphone. At $250, I could see it. At $250, this would make sense. Make it like in the 500 line. Make it like What numbers haven't they used? Have they used 570? Or HD 570 is the thing. Hang on. HD 570. Oh, HD 570s were a thing. Oh, those are old. Oh, I'm learning. Look at that. I mean, Sennheiser reuses names all the time. So they could have called these like the 570S or something like that. But they do not belong in the 600 series. I do not think these are worth $350. Soundstage and imaging are both good. I would say they're about on par with the 560S or the 490 Pro. The 490 versus the 560, that's an interesting comparison that I want to do, and I'll get around to. But these are the main topic. They're comfortable, they isolate well, they're not crazy hard to drive, they're well built, but they just don't sound very good. Sennheiser just cannot nail the whole closeback thing. I mean, I know that people rave about the Neumann, the NDH20s. I haven't heard those. I want to hear those because apparently they can actually do a closeback for that line, but not for the main line, which is pretty disappointing. These, by the way, this is not the stock cable. This is just a Amazon cable. I can link this. Not an affiliate link or anything. I don't even know how to do those. But yeah, the stock cable kind of sucks. It's the one that comes on the new variants of the 560s, and they're just not very good. I mean, it's a fine cable. It'll do the job, but I prefer something a little more, well, so I have my stack right here. This is a Modi 3 Plus and a Magni Heretic, by the way. That's what these have been powered on. And then I've also been running them on my FIO BTR5. And that can power everything here. Something I want to bring up. You know what these remind me of? The infamous AKG K371. And I think I figured it out. This is Sennheiser's take on Harman tuning. And that's an interesting thing, because Harman tuning is a little funky, especially if you're used to like more analytical things like I am. And I like the 371s. I mean, they have their build quality issues, obviously. That's very well documented. This pair doesn't. This pair is actually quite fine. But I like these quite a bit. But they're 100. I think they went up in price. They used to be 150. I think they're like 170 or 180 now. Don't buy them for 170 or 180, but like if you can get them on sale for like 120, 130, sure. Especially now that I think that the issues have been wrinkled out. But this sort of sound at this sort of price, ooh, that's a hard sell. Oh, also I have the Allegias, and I would take the Allegias over these. And I know you can get Allegias at a similar price to these. Other things, 1770, that's better than this. I mean, it's very aggressive, but it's better than this, in my opinion. 177X, also better than this. Less aggressive than 1770s. Better than this. Sundara closed. Do not buy Sundara closed. Just don't. But yeah, no, I'd take a 770 over these. I'd take this over that because of the price. This is half the cost of that. Even with its more expensive price. This is hard. Because I love the 560S. And I like the 490 because these two use the same driver. It's a whole thing with these two. But yeah, I don't know. This is a confusing headphone. I'm probably going to return it. I'm not sure yet. I need to listen to it more, obviously. But, you know, I got these early, so I wanted to share my thoughts on them before everyone goes out and buys them. because I think that if these drop in price, or if you can get them like Sennheiser refurbished or something for like 200, 250, go ahead. For 350, no. No. There are just better options. I think that's about it. If you have any questions, just ask. I'll try to reply. And yeah, I think that is about it. See ya.